So at that time, I mean, people are excited. It's a new production. It's interesting. But then as the months went by, I was told things like, I don't even want to say it. It's funny now, but I was told things like, Connie, you think you're having baby Jesus? Why are you? Why is this baby of yours more important than other babies? And then there was the body shaming, you know, a lot of it, until I couldn't wait to have this baby and just get small again.
Okay, I don't know. I feel like some of you know what I went through already. But before I tell you the story, for me, I was already on social media. Like, I think I finished school in 2012. So we're one of the first people to use these apps, Instagram, Twitter, all those things. And before I knew that you could be a social media manager or a digital strategist or whatever, I was just very intrigued by social media already. I wasted a lot of time. So, you know, my mom is very proud that it's making me money now, because it was, oh, you're always on your phone, all that. But what I learned by being always on my phone is that ata ukwe Mother Teresa, somebody will have something to say. Someone will be like, we do things, we don't tell nobody. Oh, that's what I realized. No matter, like, maybe some things would happen. I remember a celebrity abroad bought someone a car. And someone who, you know, had just started working. So he didn't buy a Mercedes or a Bentley or whatever, even though he could afford it. He bought, let's say, a Nissan, I guess. I don't know cars. It was just a car that's convenient, something he could afford to take care of. People are like, how could you give him something like that and you can afford big cars, all that? No one is thinking that this person will need to maintain that car. Why would you give someone a Bentley, then they can't afford to maintain it? You understand? So that's when I learned that, oh, people will always have something to say. So by the time it was happening to me, I can say I was very secure in myself, very secure. When I say that, it means that nobody can tell me things that I'm not, because I know who I am. So even if someone says a lie 100 times, it doesn't make it the truth, you know? So up to my story, I also will just give two stories. My partner is a media personality. He's been in the social media space or media space for the last now, I guess, 13 years. And he has gone through his share of trolling, which is intense, you know, for watching from the outside in, it's very intense, especially when you get to know the person. As Cecilia has said, when you meet the person, you start understanding that, well, do they really deserve what they go through online? You understand? So he went through a very public divorce. And of course, you know, everybody has everything to say about everyone's business. So 1 year later, or 1 year and some months later, it was also just posted. It wasn't consensual. Our relationship was very private. I was also pregnant and we had decided to keep it private for our own reasons. But someone decided, you know what, it's the tea. So they took a picture and, you know, sent it. You know where they sent it. I don't have to say. So I remember I was actually from clinic. I had gone, you know, for my, you know, pregnancy clinic, Mimi. So you don't pick the phone when you're with the doctor, right? So it's ringing. I'm checking, my friends are on my case. I'm like, what's going on? When I go to Instagram, I think I had like 5,000 followers. I'm on Instagram, I'm like at 8,000 and it just keeps growing. I'm like, oh, I think kitu imefanyika. Ile kitu imenifanyikia. So people had everything to say. People decided that, you know, it was my fault, you know, whatever happened to him. And it was intense. I think For the people, I wasn't even shocked. What shocked me must have been the publications, because there's this something called sensationalism. You don't necessarily write fact. You just write what you know will get someone to click, or what you know will get someone to talk, to, to be emotional and say, what? How could she do that? How could she do that? And that happened to me for months on end. Never mind that I was just about to give birth. So it affected me because, Mimi, as I've said, I was very into social media. So I was reading all those comments. I was literally sitting, going to this page, scrolling, 2,000 comments. Okay, I did it. It's not advisable, but I did it. And I was feeling like, oh my God, I wish, because as a person, I'm very expressive. I don't, one of the things I like saying about myself, spendi kuwekelewa. I don't like being told you've done something, because I have my sins. So I don't like taking sins that are not mine, So I was feeling like defending myself, and my partner was just like, when you speak, it just goes on. Speaking, giving them a response gives them life, So thank God I had someone like that, because my personality, I'm sure, I think Lily and I would have been on the meltdown road for a while. Also, I decided not to respond because I was about to give birth. I wanted to enjoy my child. I wanted to enjoy every step. I deserved to, even if people were trying to put it in my head that I don't deserve it, So that was the first one. And the second one, I talk about it lightly because ni juzi too, literally last week. So you all know the Wakanda fever, we have to represent, we have to, unafaa kuwa umepigia fundi wako last year, umwambie hii Wakanda, I have to dress. So I think it's been 7 weeks postpartum for me. I just given birth to my daughter, and we were invited by, our bank. So for me, it didn't hit me that, Ati, I'm supposed to go and get an outfit and get makeup done. I just dressed for a date with my partner. That's what I did. Hey, so I went. So I went for the thing. I remember I didn't know what to wear until the very last minute. I picked what I was wearing. I was feeling so good about it. One of the things you go through postpartum is the insecurity with, your body afterwards. Even if you snap back, it doesn't happen immediately. So for me, because I was very small-bodied before my pregnancies, I was very, dealing with this new body is something I have to be intentional about. Loving it, dressing it, all that. So I remember picking my outfit and I was feeling so good about myself. I was like, yes, girl, you did it. I was walking like a queen that I am. I had a good day. I was in a good mood. So 2 days later, I decided to make a video and post it. So I posted it on Instagram and I decided, this is TikTok worthy. Let me post it on TikTok. I don't know that people have already started doing the reviews. Okay, it's not in my mind. So nime-edit, nimekazana, mtoto hapa, ku-edit hapa, content. Hey, I posted the video. I remember I slept a little bit, for 15 minutes. I woke up. Oh my goodness. 150 comments of people telling me, aungeenda. Ungeenda, ati umevaje, kama Parents Day, sijui, kama Rora Show. In my head, I'm like, and what's wrong with that? So I was like, what? I'm scrolling through. I remember, because you know how you are when you're awake, you're a bit dazed. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scrolling. I'm like, Allah, I didn't meet the standards. That is crazy. But you know what? I don't care. I do not care. So what I did, I closed off the comments, because these social media platforms give you such options. You get to block, you get to close comments, you get to restrict people, you get to control your own space. So I was like, if these people think that they've bullied me so much that I will remove this video, they have something else coming because I feel good. I love the outfit. I matter. It doesn't matter what strangers have to say. So I didn't delete it. And this time, 1 year later, I was better at protecting my peace. So I did not watch any of the review videos. Nilikuwa tu naambiwa. I did not read any comments. I didn't. Anyone who came to my video on Instagram to tell me that the way, oh, you wangusha, I blocked them and told them to go say it over there. Don't come say it over here. And yeah, so what I would say with the online space is, apart from thick skin, you just have to really know and be secure in who you are, because not everyone will like who you are and what you're about, and that's okay. We're not on here to be loved. The statistics have said we've become 8 billion people on Earth. Can you imagine being friends with 8 billion people? Nobody needs that. Nobody needs validation from 8 billion people, minus one, of course. So just I'm okay with who I am, and I know who I am. So when people tell me things that I am not, I don't let them get to me. However, what I've also learned about the human psyche is that you can have, again, 100 comments of positivity and 5 comments of someone saying something you wouldn't even imagine saying to anyone else. And you will always remember that negative one. It keeps playing in your head. You know, Milka, I'm taking care of my kids and I'm thinking, ama niandike kitu. Ama tu niwaambie waniachane, you know. But, you know, at the end of the day, I've just realized it's not worth it. The only time I responded about anything was that I had posted, when they now, because for me, the platform hit me. It didn't grow. It just, one day I was Ivy posting my life, no one cares. And the next day, everybody is my business. So one of the blogs found a photo of me and my niece. I always call her my baby. And they decided that Ivy has a 12-year-old from a previous marriage. Never mind, I'm 26. So if you do the math, I was in a previous marriage at 13. Are you guys serious? You know, that's the only time I said, you people are not, you know, that's not good. You shouldn't write things like that. And when I realized that also, because of sensationalism, nobody cares about the facts. So if I'm going on to respond, naenda kujitetea, right? But nobody cares, because if they cared, they would have called me to get the facts. No one, let me tell you something. All those things you've read about me, none of those journalists has ever asked me anything. I have never been called by anyone to be like, oh, what about this? What about this? So I realized, you know what? You know, yeah, I'll just do me. It's okay. So that's what happened.
Thank you so much. So there are 3 things I've picked up from your conversation. These platforms have ways you can protect yourself. You can block, you can mute, you know, and also sharing your life. For example, Facebook, you can create a section whereby only very few members of your family can be able to see your stuff if you really want to put some of your stuff there. You can also be like Lillian. She decided she doesn't want her children on social media. So also, as much as we keep talking about online safety, we also need to take steps to protect ourselves online. Also, when it comes, I like what you said, you need to know exactly who you are. And I don't know, you know, when I was your age, believe you me, I knew nothing. Yeah. You know, as much as we fear age, it's so liberating. Mm-hmm. Age is so liberating. And one time, maybe 15 years from now, you will remember what I've told you. If today I woke up and someone told me I'm ugly, I'll be like, oh, you must be blind. Because the last time I checked, I'm so beautiful. But if you had told me that even when I was 25, I would have caved in. Like, you mean I'm ugly? So also some things is you as an individual. Also, when you become like very like specific on your content, you know, you can't afford to be all over the place. You know, you can't be all over the place. I like what you said. None of the bloggers called you. As journalists, a story has to balance, you know. So if any of you is thinking of starting a gossip blog, I mean, there's a victim here who's talking about it. Anyway, it would not be, it's called what? We would not have this conversation balance if we don't ask about the issue of law. You know, are there laws that are protecting women like them, women who are voices online and actually trying to keep us safe. And for that, I would want my friend Angela, who is an advocate, to let us know exactly how we can be able to protect ourselves. And if you have actually been abused online, what are some of the steps that you can take, legal action that you can take? Because I feel some of these things go on because there's no one to hold these people into account, and we're not sitting here saying that men don't go through online violence. They do. But women is so gendered and sexist. Lillian will put a comment like this and someone will like, oh, I don't like your wig. What has my comment got to do with my wig? Or somebody will say something and someone will like, oh, you didn't get a better top to wear today. But for men, they're attacked because of what they have said, So we also need to kill this culture of whereby they come after us. And it's a culture which has been there. Patriarchy is one of the reasons why we go through what we go through. And a patriarchal society is a dangerous society. And I keep saying, if we have less women on the online spaces, it will mean also less women in newsrooms, less women in the political powers. And 50 years from now, we'll be talking about the same conversation. Well, 50 years from now, some of us will be dead. But, so we talk about, we need to get solutions to this. And for that, we'll invite Angela to be able to give us legal advice.
So my name is Angela Minayo. I'm an advocate of the High Court, and I also work with Cecilia in women digital rights issues. So I also work at Kictonet as a women digital rights programs officer, and I hope that maybe in future I'll work with some of you as well. So my expertise on OGBV is both from my NGO experience and the fact that I practice law in my other careers. So when you experience OGBV, it's important to, first of all, document. Courts don't know about your feelings. You can't narrate to them the stories. They won't understand. So screenshot, have documentation. If you get a good lawyer, and I'm sure all of us are good, is they'll teach you, they'll be able to present that evidence in a way that it can be admissible in court. So if it's a video, they'll get an electronic evidence person to certify it, that you didn't doctor it, because the other side will say that it's fake, okay? So start preparing yourself for such kinds of scenarios when you go to court. So first of all, document. Before you seek a therapist, before you call your friends, just document. Because sometimes people will do that and then delete, and then you won't have any evidence of what happened to you. So that's the first thing, have the evidence with you. The other thing about OGBV is that the scale is quite wide. The person attacking you, you don't know their names. They're using pseudonyms. This is not the usual gender-based violence where we know who did it. So expect a lot of pushback from law enforcement, from courts, because we're yet to really grapple with online gender-based violence. Our society looks at violence from a physical point. So they will recognize that you've been hit. They will recognize that someone has verbally abused you in person, or, when people saw and stuff. But telling someone about emotional turmoil caused from a post, from a comment, that is yet to get acceptability as something that is violent. So it's about perceptions and mindset. But the law has tried to make a few accommodations for some forms of online gender-based violence. So things like cyber stalking, cyber harassment, someone hacking your account, someone trying to, I don't know if you've seen this before, but it's called doxing. So someone shares your phone number online and then you start getting calls, or someone shares your location, or even someone takes the location from your own content. So again, this comes to digital security. You need to be very careful about the things you post online. You don't have to say that you're at University of Nairobi right now. You can wait until you get home and then say that we were at this event, because sometimes you'll be targeted just from the locations you've been posting, and then someone can actually get those so where you are is actually a sensitive information. So you find someone taking your information, posting them online, that is a data breach. So I don't know if you know about data protection, but we have a new law. It's 3 years now, and you can sue someone for using your personal data wrongly, and things like that. So again, that can have a remedy in law. You can go to the Data Protection Office of the Data Protection Commissioner and file a complaint, or you can still get your rights through the human rights form. So you do a petition for breach of your right to privacy. So there are things we can do, but we have not been seeing a lot of these cases in our court system. And as I explained sometime earlier in a Twitter space, is our legal system is both legislative and case law. So it means that we need to test it. We need to have, so that next time I talk about this, I can say, go look at this case, and this is what the court said. So the importance of reporting, the importance of taking these things to court is that we build our jurisprudence, so that the next person who gets a similar scenario, the person defending you can raise that case, and it will be used alongside the laws. I don't know if I've explained it better, but I don't want to use the legal terms because I feel like they just make people feel like it's such a complex thing. It's not. It's literally the court saying that we decided like this in a similar set of facts, and given a similar set of facts, we're going to decide the same way, unless there are some distinctions. So I keep saying we need to test it. There's not so much research on OGBV in Kenya, but I think that is also something we need to start thinking about. How do the police understand online gender-based violence? Do the judiciary even, is their capacity up to speed? We are now going digital. So much is being done online, but our systems are very archaic. When you go to court, you will see this. So that is just my 2 cents. So think about it broadly. It can be a data protection issue. It can be even you suing the big tech companies, because as much as they're corporates, they have your personal data, and you need to ask, how did this person get my data, and this happened to me? Or you can think of even a civil defamation suit. For instance, these gossip sites, and you're journalists, and I think I need to reiterate that even as you open your blogs and your content, I don't have a word for this, sorry, I'm not a journalist, but when you do these things, please be careful, because you can be sued for civil defamation. If you go and spread lies about someone, they can sue you, and the damages can be quite hefty. So that is also a way you can get remedy, that you can just sue the gossip site, take it the long way. We've seen politicians, I don't know why, but politicians seems to be very sensitive. For them, they take it very personally and they go to court, but we get to see more women doing that, especially from influencers, journalists, and celebrities. So we want to build our jurisprudence to be gender responsive, so that we stop having laws that are yet to be implemented. I think that's my contribution, unless there are any questions.
Thank you so much. And I like the angle that you bring in, the issue of data protection. We don't worry much about our information. And I've seen this every time I'm talking about digital security. After class, somebody like, but me, I'm not famous. So why would someone come after me? No, your data is your privacy, whether you're famous or you're not famous. Another thing that, Angela, you brought up is document. I think one of the reasons why people actually don't go to the police, because somebody is saying, you go to the police, you say, I've been abused on Instagram. Instagram ni nani? It's this, you start explaining, somebody's like, leave that plan, and they move on to the next person. So I think we also need to make sure that we keep pushing these things, because if we don't push, unfortunately, some of you might go through the same thing. I think one question that I would want to ask the both of you is, how have you been able to protect the ones you love? Because the last thing you want to see is your sister. I can't imagine if any of you was my sister and going through what you're going through. The burden would be on me. I would feel like, what can I do? So how have you been able to protect even your children? Because these children, they're digital natives. They're not immigrants like us. So sometimes they can sense what is happening online.
I think for me, I mentioned that earlier. It's just by not posting my family. By the way, the person who had me and made me have a meltdown, I since moved from that. I've been in a relationship for so long. It's not public knowledge. Then this is the first time that I've ever said it publicly, but the person actually exists. So I'm very intentional about that. I just protect the people that are very close to me in the sense that, and it doesn't even mean my children or my partner, but even my friends, some of them are just not in that space. They just don't want you having lunch somewhere and you're just putting them out there in your stories. Not everybody's comfortable with that. So for me, I protect my people by keeping them away from that space, because mine is a bit extreme in the sense that there are a lot of people who follow me there for different reasons. I have friends, then I have people who I really don't know. And I also have my potential clients there. So I keep it very, not vague, but I keep it very intentional. Like I said earlier, you'll not see my children there. You will not know where they go to school. If we go for lunch on a weekend, like the advocate said, you won't know where we are. And most importantly, I never post real time. And I think it's so important that she said that, because just because you don't want everybody, all up in your business, and secondly, also for security purposes. So for me, I've protected my people that way. And I'm not saying that that's for everybody. I mean, there are people who are happy to post their partners, their children, for their own reasons. For me, I think I was very traumatized to the extent that I just said, this is not for me. And if it happens, if the hate comes, let it come to me, but let it never. Because for instance, I have a child now, he's in elementary. I don't want people or his friends in school saying, your mom, she did this, she did that. And so it's something that will really need, man, I just have to get an attitude adjustment for me to ever post my close people there, because I protect them in that way. I don't want what has previously happened to me to happen to them. And there are instances where my boyfriend will say things like, why don't you ever post me? But I'm like, dude.
You don't know how I'm protecting you. Thank you so much. Ivy, how do you protect even your mom? Because, they see these things online.
Okay, so for me, I'm a poster. I like to, one of the things I said when she asked me to write a bio is that I'm obsessed with the ideal of freedom. And to me, being free is being able to live as who I am authentically, whether someone agrees with it or not. So I am the way I am. I love my family, I love my partner, and I love loudly. I am so proud of my kids. Very proud to share them, and share my partner, show that I love them. It's not all about anything we do I must post, because before our relationship became public, it was private. I didn't used to post him or anything about him. But when I switched to that side, how I'd say I protect my extended family is, now that I have a larger following, it's my responsibility to ask anyone who interacts with me if they're okay with me posting them. I never post anyone apart from my kids who are now too small to have that choice. For my family, my siblings, my parents, I ask them. I'm like, are you okay? Can I post this? Can I share this? And I always do. I found myself asking, because not everyone is ready for me, I have 69,000 followers. No, not everyone is ready for all that. So if you tell me not to post you, I surely will not. For my kids, I do not post them going through let's say tantrums. My son is 1.5 years old. If he's having a meltdown, if he's crying, I don't post that, because people will have something to say. Oh, umefanya nini mtoto? Oh, huyo angekuwa wangu. Oh. So I just post happy moments, which again reiterate something Lillian said about how artificial the social media space is. Because I only post happy moments, people assume that I'm always happy, but it's intentional. I would not post any of my people when they're not okay. And as my children grow up, God willing, I plan to show them less. Once they have a choice, if they decide that they do not want to be posted, I will not. So in case my son gets older and you don't see him anymore, it's probably because he's told me sitaki. So that's what I plan to do. But otherwise, I'm one of those people who is like, the internet has been alive for a long time. Social media has been there since 2004. I don't think it's right that for people or the bullies tell you, if you don't want to be bullied, don't post. That is not fair. It is not fair. This space, I remember my friends asking me to deactivate, and I was like, if I ever deactivate my account, it's because I want to, not that people made me to. So I do what I want. Even if you don't agree with it, I have every right, just as you, to do what I want, So I guess I would like more people to be more tolerant of people on the online space. There's this saying that I like, I forget who said it, that says, it is the mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it. Meaning you don't have to agree with everybody and everything they do. If you don't, unfollow. Why do you keep looking at someone who you don't like what they're about, so that you can say, just don't do that, If you don't agree with something, don't do it. If you don't have anything nice to say, because I can't sit here and pretend like I always support what all the celebrities do in the name of clout and everything, but you will never see me there trying to pull them down to get them to stop. It's not fair. Everyone has the right to exist in the way that makes them comfortable. Yeah.
Thank you.